Hi, I'm Elizabeth.
Hey, I'm Cynthia.
I'm Chris.
I'm Josh.
I'm Rolando.
And I'm Jahida, doing my persuasive speech for Dr. P's public speaking class. On September 17th, 1997, a young girl and her mother, along with two siblings, came to the United States. They entered this land of hopes and dreams on a visitor's visa to reunite with their father. She came to the home of the free and the brave, not by choice, but because as a child you have no say in your future. As innocent children, they followed their parents like sheep follow their shepherd. Blinded by the bliss, the only thing the young girl and her siblings knew was that they were now in school, learning a new language, and the pieces of their family puzzle were finally back together. It wasn't long before the children realized they weren't like everyone else. They had a deep, dark secret they couldn't tell anyone. They didn't realize they had overstayed their welcome. Even worse, they were now breaking the law. They knew they couldn't trust anyone with their secret of being undocumented because they would get deported. The issue of being undocumented and the possibility of deportation frightened them so much they always tried their best to blend in. This young girl didn't realize it at the time, but her fear was so great it took over her life. She didn't play sports even though she loved them because she was afraid of being hurt and needing medical care. She believed if she were hurt and the hospital found out she was undocumented, she would get deported. She was a great student but never showed her true potential because she believed the attention somehow would lead to someone finding out her legal status. She didn't have many friends and pushed people away because she didn't feel she could trust them, and she feared once they knew her legal status, they would turn their backs on her, or even worse, turn her in. The fear never really subsides, but it's more manageable when in school. Most of the hours spent in the day revolve around studying, as most American teens do. This is until the paralyzing realization the senior year approaches. Most kids are gearing up for SATs and picking out schools to apply for. Kids are telling their peers, my family's alma mater is this school, mine is that one. But truthfully, where does hers go from here? The anxiety just keeps building and is even more grueling as teachers offer to write her letters of recommendation, and she fears the despair of being called into the guidance counselor's office. As he sits there and tells her all the things she is, he doesn't know the one thing she isn't. The great piece of kryptonite in her pocket weighing down the Superman of her dreams. Like Superman, they both are called aliens. Their parents forced them to a new land, and they had to hide their true identity to avoid danger. The guidance counselor, now realizing her predicament, is now more of a judge at sentencing. You are found guilty of not having the correct document, and your sentence is to forever live in the shadows, as your car of life is not allowed on these roads of virtue. Or go back to a country you don't even remember being part of. So while she lives in the darkness, she waits for the day someone would come to their rescue. These stories are more prevalent now with the media and debates on the fate of the so-called aliens in America. Yet I am more personally invested in the story of this alien as this person is me. I know firsthand what it is like to live in fear and feel worthless in a country that should be full of opportunity. Education is an important aspect of life for everyone. Whether you were lucky enough to be born in the home of the free or unlucky enough to be born anywhere else, education should be just as important. In the wise words of a young undocumented valedictorian by the name of Larissa Martinez, the most important part of the debate and the most important part overlooked is the fact that immigrants, undocumented or otherwise, are people too. It is time we put all our differences aside and look at the bigger picture. We are all one race, the human race. On June 15, 2012, President Barack Obama gave a speech on deferred action for childhood arrivals. President Barack Obama said, "These are young people who study in our schools. They play in our neighborhoods. They are friends with our kids. They pledge allegiance to our flag. They are American in their hearts, in their minds, in every single way, but on paper." These words touched my heart dearly. They described me. I was that child that pledged her allegiance every day at school. I always felt like the United States was part of me, even though I knew its citizens wanted no part of me. It is paramount that we give these young people the chance to live, the chance at life that was taken from them when their parents made the choice to keep them here illegally. They should not be looked at as criminals. These young people came here with their parents in the hopes of bettering their lives. Deferred action is a legislation that will be the key to their success. Deferred action is also known as the DREAM Act. It is a legislation that was prepared by both political parties to give young people who come to America as children a chance to contribute to our country's well-being by serving in the U.S. Armed Forces or pursuing higher education. The legislation opens the door to education, work opportunities, and the chance to show our patriotism. Deferred action is not a gateway to citizenship, but it does give a sense of empowerment to people who otherwise felt powerless and unwanted. Most teens are excited of what will come in the future once they graduate. Their lives are beginning to blossom. For those of us who grew up in the shadows of uncertainty and the fear of deportation, our lives come to an end as soon as we graduate. Once we get the all too sought out diploma, we fade into the masses. Any hopes and dreams we had come to a screeching halt. However, the DREAM Act allows us to dream again. We can finally feel like humans. This negative term of alien will finally be lifted from our shoulders, even if it is just in 2-year increments. According to President Barack Obama in his original 2012 Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, relief from deportation to young dreamers is offered. This legislation is much needed in America. I urge you all to vote yes when this legislation comes to a vote. As stated by Olga Y. Ketchens in her Out of the Shadows article, administration's efforts to bring undocumented immigrants out of the shadows under DACA, while constitutional, is merely a band-aid, a temporary solution to Congress's unsuccessful efforts to pass legislation that addresses the issue of undocumented immigrants head-on. This country, a nation of immigrants, deserves more. As our president most eloquently said, it is the right thing to do. Help us feel worthy of for the first time in our lives. Help us be part of something greater than just you and me. Let us be humans again. Vote yes on Dreamers.